Welcome back to Explain America. This is your host, Kyle Becker. It has taken over a year for us to get some transparency on the social media and internet behavior of Trump's would-be assassin. And Thomas Crooks, well, it appears that he had some quite unusual interests, and he is in some ways connected to the actual assassin of Charlie Kirk. But it goes a bit deeper than that. Obviously, you might have seen the massive reports this week that fueled a lot of speculation. Tucker Carlson, the former Fox News star, he had trawled through the internet history and had dug up some very interesting points about Crooks's apparent views, and it shows what we knew all along, and that the FBI lied to the American people and misled us. That Crooks, well, it wasn't mysterious that he was an anti-Trump, radicalized fanatic, and this is clear from the social media history, but it's even darker than that because there's a very particular hidden motive it appears he might have had for shooting Donald Trump. And we're going to break this down soon, but before we do, please like, share, and comment at Explain America. Join us. We appreciate your support for common sense journalism. Now, we're not going to delve too deeply into the sexual proclivities of Thomas Crooks and Charlie Kirk's assassin accused in a court of law, and that would be Tyler Robinson. And apparently they were very active in what is called the furries community, and some of that is sexually explicit. We're not going to dive too much into that, but it is an interesting overlap, and it does give us pause about whether some of these online communities, they're being infiltrated and they are being activated and acting as kind of radicalized cells by certain actors, whether it be foreign actors or, well, potentially domestic actors who are trying to get them to activate and mobilize against conservatives, Trump supporters, those who stand in the way of the socialist revolutionary agenda. And of course, look no further than Portland and Seattle and some of these other cities where the furries communities are, and they're quite active. And they're also some of the most radical cities in the United States. They're really blue strangleholds there. And so when we look at Thomas Crooks and Tyler Robinson and what potential connections there might be there, it does give us ample cause for further investigation of these online communities and potential cells. So, moving on to the internet history of Thomas Crooks, it is really a mystery why it took so long for us to get some more transparency on this. And a lot of this is in flux. It is not settled. The FBI, they're not agreeing with everything that Tucker Carlson and some other journalists have said about Crooks. But let's keep in mind the FBI in the past lied about Crooks, made it seem like his motive was uncertain. And as Tucker Carlson suggested in his report, and of course we're still looking for full clarity on all of this, he had some views where at one point it appeared that he had some support for Donald Trump and the MAGA movement and then turned viciously against it. There are 2020, for example, texts and for his online activities showing that he called Trump supporters dumb. He said they acted like a cult. But further, what we see in a new report that you can see at the Daily Mail is really thought-provoking because he shared what the Daily Mail said were troubling drawings of cartoon characters, and they were being shot in the face, according to the online accounts linked to him. Now, as we know, Crooks opened fire on the president at Pennsylvania. He is linked to the accounts Epic Microwave and the Epic Microwave on the website DeviantArt. If you're not familiar with that, it's kind of a very libertine and counterculture type of website, and some of it has furries depictions there, along with some other explicit depictions. So just keep in mind, it's not all of what goes on in DeviantArt, but those are a few segments that are in the DeviantArt community. And according to a trawl of the accounts through the Internet Archives by the Daily Mail, the users shared their own images depicting extreme violence on the site. Now, this is really interesting. One image shows a character standing over two others. One of the characters had red hair and was shot in the face, and the image is titled "Killing Pedos." And DeviantArt is known for hosting this explicit images, just as more context. So this image really suggests to me, why did he turn so hard against Donald Trump? And that's something we need to know more about. But if this violent image is any indication, it could be because of a lot of the fake news reports about Trump and Epstein. And of course, we're awaiting the release of the files, the unclassified release. So let's not all be delusional here. We're going to get a limited release, a limited hangout, as they call it in intelligence circles. We're not getting the classified documents. Potentially it doesn't appear, and why these can't be declassified with, intelligent redactions about the victims and any sources and methods that we absolutely should not know about, or our enemies, more particularly. We should get a little bit more transparency about all of this, and it should be put to rest to some degree, obviously. But was he radicalized by the fake news media? It seems very possible. And of course, the FBI needs to be much more transparent about his internet activity. We shouldn't be getting all of this secondhand and from journalists who are, doing the best that they can with their commentary and their access to these documents. But we need more transparency on this, because it just fuels conspiracy theories, and it leads to a lot of angst and concern that our government is compromised. And when you don't have transparency, that happens. So the FBI should do the best it can with both the Crooks case and the Epstein files release. Be forthright with us. We can't handle the truth. Just like the movie, A Few Good Men, we can handle the truth. So tell us the truth, and we will sort it out. Let's get this over with. Let's get it on. And weigh in with your own thoughts. We always appreciate you watching Ed Explain America.
Fox News Alert. We have details on what the Trump wannabe assassin said online, giving us a look inside the shooter's mind and motive, after Biden's FBI told us there was nothing there.
In terms of what we've been able to find so far, a lot of the usual repositories of information have not yielded anything notable in terms of motive or like ideology.
A week after that, the deputy director told us Crooks was just a bigot.
There were over 700 comments posted from this account. Some of these comments, if ultimately attributable to the shooter, appear to reflect anti-Semitic and anti-immigration themes, to espouse political violence, and are described as extreme in nature.
But this isn't exactly the full story. Miranda Devine of the New York Post, building on Tucker's report last week, showing Matthew Crooks had 17 online accounts on sites like YouTube and Snapchat and Discord. Surprisingly, 5 years before the shooting, he was praising Donald Trump, calling the president the literal definition of patriotism. He wrote threats, but not aimed at Trump. Look at this: "Murder the Democrats," he said in December 2019. A few months later, he wrote this: "I hope a quick, painful death to all the deplorable immigrants and anti-Trump congresswomen who don't deserve anything this country has given them." But in 2020, something changed. He set his sights on Trump. He started calling the president racist and stupid. He hated Trump and his voters. Look at this. How can you people call others sheep, but you are too brainwashed to realize how dumb you are? I mean, literally, you guys sound like a cult at times. By the summer, he became even more unhinged. Look at this. "The only way to fight the government is with terrorism-style attacks. Sneak a bomb into an essential building and set it off before anyone sees you. Track down any important people, politicians, military leaders, and try to assassinate them." Crooks also had a trans connection. Like alleged Charlie Kirk assassin Tyler Robinson, Crooks appears to have been interested in furries and exploring gender identity. He described himself with the pronouns they, them, on the platform DeviantArt, which is one of the biggest online hubs for furry art and the furry community. So two assassins